we should be live. Welcome guys to this new live streaming. I'm gonna stop the music for now. Please let me know first of all what you join, if the quality is good, if you can hear me alright, and if the volumes are well balanced between the backing track and my guitar, and also my voice, of course. So as you probably guessed from the title of this live streaming, we're gonna talk about improvisation today. So this is in actual fact the part 2 of a previous live stream that I did a couple of weeks ago, I think, about improvisation, and we'll be seeing a few improvisation tips, okay? So we'll be going through a few concepts. Also last week we did another live stream showing 3 simple must-know licks for improvisation. They are in the key of A minor, and even today we'll be working in the key of A minor to make sure that everybody can follow this lesson. So if you guys have about half an hour and you want to spend it with me, I would be really happy to spend this half an hour with you talking about improvisation and showing a few examples and concepts that you can try to use in your everyday practice, okay? As always, as soon as you join, make sure to like this video if you enjoy this type of content, guys, and if you haven't yet, make sure to also subscribe to the channel. You will find all of the extra resources that you might want to check out linked in the description below. So you'll find the backing track that I'm using for this live stream. You'll also find other videos, the previous part, the part 1, so the previous live lesson on improvisation, and you will also find the other videos I have on the channel about improvisation, so you might want to check them out to get some extra licks and tips that you might need for your improvisation. Okay, so that being said, again, today we'll be playing in A minor, so the main scale I'll be using will be the A minor pentatonic, which I guess most people know. Mainly the shape 1, moving then to, in the low end, to the shape 5 and going up to shape 2 and 3. I will also be using, you know, the natural minor scale. This kind of stuff. Again, mainly the shape 1 for this scale as well. A few extra notes like the blue note, but I'll be talking about them when I play them. So with that in mind, hey Jay, how you doing? Good to see you here. With that in mind, I will give it a go with the backing track again, so you guys can tell me if the quality is good, if you can hear it all right. And we're gonna see the first concept. The first concept I want to introduce today is repetition, okay? Because we said in the previous live stream that improvising is literally like talking. When you repeat the same idea more than once, you get, you know, extra. Yeah, it's gonna convince more whoever is gonna listen to your improvisation. So let's see what I mean. We can select a few notes of the minor pentatonic, and we can try to play them not only once, but, you know, more than once in a row, and see how this sounds like. Okay, let's give it a go with the backing track. This is the first part of the actual lesson, and it's called repetition. So here we go. The backing track is on. Thanks Jay for letting me know about the quality. And here we go. So let's say that I'm playing just a few notes like, or even, you know, just a couple of notes, literally one here and one here, and instead of just playing them and then move elsewhere, instead of doing this, I'm gonna stay there. Now, and this makes it more interesting, right? Okay, there might be tiny variations when you repeat, but repeating definitely helps your phrasing, okay? Let's see a few other notes. Okay, so this simple phrase. This could be my theme, okay? The part of the solo, the part of the improvisation that I really want to repeat many times. Again. Once more. And then you go higher and you do the same. Let's do this phrase again, okay? And once more. Okay. So it doesn't really matter what type of phrase you're playing, guys. It could be literally something that starts from the root and goes over the natural minor scale, right? Or it could be something that you play, you know, with a few notes of the minor pentatonic, with in mind still the root note. And if you repeat it, it's gonna make your phrasing more like a solo rather than an exercise which could be going over the scales up and down from start to finish. Okay, so that is the first point, which is gonna introduce the second tip for today, which is call and response. This is something very well known when you improvise. Not only on guitar, literally on any instrument, it's part of the music language. And at the end of the day, because we said it's the same as talking, improvising, making solos needs to have a sort of call and a response. Like if you are having a conversation where you ask a question and you're getting an answer, you know, a reply to your question, which is basically part of the language, right? And it's part of the music as well. So let's see how we can do this. We can do this with one part of the phrasing, which is going to be the call, maybe 3 notes, for instance, you know, which you can play like 2-3 times in a row, and then as a reply you can go out of this pattern and play something different, you know, okay, or that's the call. That could be like the response. Let's try this with the music again, and let's see if this concept works with the backing track, okay? It could be anywhere, okay, again. I first get in time with the backing track, playing a few notes. Also looking for an idea, right? I can stop when I feel that I played a few notes that I want to repeat as part of the call and response. So for instance, if I do this, but then I do this as an answer, you know, as a reply to the first part, I'm creating the conversation, the call and response, okay? Let's see this again. 2, 3, first part. I could stop here, but it feels like, okay, what does it come next, okay? And here is where I put the answer to it. Okay, question, reply. is a chord which then ends differently somewhere else, okay? And then, you know, the part which was the reply to your question could become the next call. Let's see how this works like. 3, 4, call. Now call and response. And now this becomes the call. Okay, so this part is the new call, and this part is the response now. So if I put them all together, they create a conversation. Let's see this. Then I need to listen to the backing track, because the backing track opens up here, so I can open up what I'm playing. Which means, for instance, I can go higher with the pitch and then play a reply here. Okay, so simple concepts, guys. We need to start from something real simple. So these notes, let's stop the backing track. These notes that I'm seeing, oh, thanks Jay, I'm glad you like it. So these notes that we are playing are really few notes to connect simply the shape 1 and 2 of the minor pentatonic. Here is the shape 1. I take these 2 notes of the G string and I move them into the shape 2, and here I continue with the shape 2 until I get the following root. But the way I do it also is quite important, because we're going to talk about the timing in a minute, but it's also the pronunciation of these phrases, really. So I'm not just doing this, or even worse. This is boring, it sounds like an exercise, it's not very much of a language that you speak. But instead, if I do like, there is a tiny repetition in it, you know, playing these 2 notes twice. And the way I do it is with a smooth slide, going here, and then I hum around with a vibrato. So, okay. Then, even when I play the response, you see that I'm doing this kind of thing. Which is basically that descending slide that we talked about in another video. Again, guys, I want to remind you that you find all of the other resources about improvisation linked in the description below. There are a few videos on the channel about improvisation and a couple of other live streaming lessons that I did in the past few weeks. One is about licks, so actual licks with the tab on screen, and another one is the first part of this class, where I talk about some more basic tips. Okay. Now, with that in mind, we explain the concepts of and the importance of the repetition and the call and response. So the next thing is introducing what's the timing of the notes that I'm playing. So here I definitely need the backing track to explain this. So hopefully you can hear me all right when I speak on top of the backing track. So the way it works is, make sure that you can count the beats on the backing track, okay? Hopefully I'm in sync, otherwise this is gonna sound and look quite awful, but... So if I listen to this backing track, I'm looking for this accent on 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got my beats I could just play quarter notes, one per beat, okay, when I walk through the scale to improvise. That would sound like this: 3, 4. As long as I play all of the notes in time, this is already quite nice, okay? Definitely sounds in time. Or I could play eighth notes, so 2 notes per beat, and get something like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Literally now I'm not even phrasing, I'm just walking through the scale in time with my backing track. When I get more familiar with that, I can introduce more difficult rhythms, like triplets: 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Maybe for a few notes only, right? Or I can even play 16th notes, so 4 notes per beat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Obviously, you wouldn't play like that from start to finish. You would play like that for a few notes in your phrasing, okay? But these are all of the possibilities you had, timing-wise. But now, the main focus should be on the pick-up notes, okay? This thing is also called Anacrusis. So the meaning is, if the timing goes like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, I won't start my phrase, my lick necessarily on the beat number 1. So rather than doing stuff like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, you know, classic starting on the downbeat number 1, I can start in a different part of the bar, maybe a few eighth notes before the beat, before the 1. This is called the pick-up notes, okay? So if I play 3 pick-up notes, I will start on the end number 3 of the previous bar, which is very simple when you listen to the backing track. It means this: 2, 3, 4, and like the attack is so different because I didn't start, you know, on the downbeat number 1 where you would have expected that, and it doesn't sound like nothing interesting. I start a little bit before. Obviously, you need to know how to count this in order to do this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. One of the licks that I showed last week in the previous live streaming, and even this doesn't start on the downbeat, right? So I don't play like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and like that. It would be too boring. So all I do, I play 1 note, which happens to be the root, on the off beat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so using the pick-up notes, the Anacrusis, same notes, but more interesting because of the way you play them, the way you count them, okay? So hopefully this makes sense. It's a very important concept. It goes very much together with the way you count the beats, so you really need to be aware of what is going on rhythmically, and you need to be able to do this at different tempos with different styles. This backing track is in 4/4, but other backing tracks could be in 6/8, for instance, and you need to be able to do exactly the same thing. Okay. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is something that I already played quite a lot here, which is rests. So it's incredible the power of the silence, you know, just making sure that you don't talk, that you don't play when you don't need to, and this will give more importance to what you've played just before and to what you are about to play next. Okay, so it's like when you talk, you don't want to talk like this all the time without any interruption or different accent and blah blah blah, right? You don't do that when you talk. When I'm talking now, when I'm speaking, I'm giving more importance to some words, I'm giving more importance to some parts within the same words, and I'm also taking rests in between. First of all, because I need them to breathe, but also because that gives more emphasis to what I'm about to say next or what I've just said, like now. Okay, so let's try how this works with the backing track when you are improvising. Okay, let's see this. Here we are with the backing track again. Again, guys, the backing track is linked in the description below. Okay. So what I don't want to do is this. This is just too much. I'm playing too much. There are no interruptions. Everything is flat. Okay. Same thing with the right rests. Even if I just walk up and down through the scale, sounds so much better. Let's check this out. Rest. It could be rest, or it could be longer sound of one of the notes. This also goes with the call and response. Between the call and the response, you take a break. You don't do, right? You do this. Rest. Rest. Again. Once more. It's a dialogue, it's a conversation with a backing track. Okay, I'm not just playing by myself. Okay, so it's something really important. I see that is probably the thing that I see the most in beginners. Most beginner players, they just start playing from start to finish with no interruption, the same skill, or even when they play different parts of the skill, they play too much. Okay, so often I say, you play too much. Like another guitarist would probably have built like 4 solos with the notes that you used for a couple of licks. Okay, so it's something where you need to listen to yourself, create a conversation with the backing track, and make sure that while you do it, you don't overplay, you don't play too much. The best way to really work on that is possibly recording yourself. Now we can do it in a simple way, even just with your phone. You guys can take amazing clips of your playing and look at the things you played, especially if you take a video selfie, and listen back to the licks that you play, and you will probably notice that you actually played too much. It's very rare that you find out like, oh, there are too many empty parts where I wish I would have played another note here. It doesn't happen too much, it's more the other way around. Okay. Now, one last tip that I want to talk about is a sort of conclusion of all we said, which is let's build a thematic solo. So the solo that you play when you practice with the backing tracks and you want to end up into a solo, it's nothing but putting together different licks and get the solo as a theme, okay, not as a bunch of licks just thrown there with no nonsense, okay. It has to be something that follows a theme, uses the call and response, uses the pickup notes, the rests that we talked about, okay. So let's see what I mean with that. Then I will talk about a few more final tips and a final improvisation. So I'll get the backing track again, okay. And what I do here, I want to make sure that every lick I play is followed by another, following the call and response and the theme. Okay, so that it becomes a theme. Okay. Happens that I play more notes, right? Towards the end now, I was playing more notes. I was putting together more notes belonging to maybe the natural minor. I think sometimes I also played this G sharp. If you wonder where this comes from, the scale is called melodic minor. And so I did use different stuff, but mainly I played a few notes, making it as simple as possible, just walking up and down the shape 1 of the minor pentatonic. Okay, in A minor. This is what gives you the theme rather than just a bunch of notes. Okay, I was making sure that I followed the timing. I was making sure that I was following my rests, repeating the notes that I liked into a call and response. That was my actual goal. Okay, now a few final things that I want to mention. You might want to go at the end of this live class, you might want to go back and see the things that I was playing and check out what I'm about to say. It's quite important that sometimes you focus on the way you play phrases and licks in terms of fingerings. And if you go back, you will see that I very rarely, probably never actually, used my pinky. So it's more likely that you use first and third fingers, okay, like this. It's just a more comfortable way of playing, but also it's something that gives you more sustained, so very helpful to play vibratos, slides, bendings, and all this sort of stuff. It really helps if you guys focus on 1 and 3, and you use the parts of the pentatonic scale where you use the fingering 1 and 3 to link to the next shape. So if I start on the low end, shape number 5 here, and I slide into the shape 1, and then when I play this 1, 3, I slide into the shape 2, and when I play this 1, 3, I slide into the shape 3, and then into the shape 4, etc. Okay. And then the other thing is using your fingers. So making sure that while you phrase, watch back what I was playing, or stay until the end of this class where I play now a final improvisation, where no licks of these are prepared. So they just come very spontaneous. And what I do is what I feel more comfortable with. So there's 1, 3 fingerings. But the other thing is using your fingers. So not just the pick, but you can use either board if you want to play something more hybrid, or simply your fingers. I think sometimes I hide my pick around here, and what I do is using my thumb and my middle finger, okay, because the index is busy holding the pick, but even if you drop the pick and you just use your fingers, you get different tones. So it's another tone that you have available just using your right hand fingers, okay. And then the best tip I can give you guys is transcribe. Transcribe a lick of this improvisation if you liked it. Transcribe a lick of your favorite artist from your favorite solos. Make sure that you take notes of the phrases that you like, that you analyze them, that you understand what's the key and what's the scale or the scales involved, so that you can use it in different keys and styles and make it part of your vocabulary, okay? And this way you will build up a library of licks, which is what you really need when you improvise, okay? So make sure that you transcribe, guys. You spend time with the music, figuring out by ear phrases, licks, solos, and then you write your own licks when you improvise. When you can stop the backing track while you're practicing and studying the improvisation. And if you play something that you really like, you take a note immediately before you forget. You take a note immediately of the lick that you created, okay? That's my advice. There is a question by Raideep. Can you make fingerstyle lessons next? There are some fingerstyle lessons coming very soon. I try to alternate some fingerstyle lessons, or in general acoustic lessons, and some electric guitar lessons. There is a video, if you stay on the channel actually, there is a video which is going out, I believe right now, which is played fingerstyle. So it's on the electric guitar, but it's played fingerstyle. So you might want to check that out on the channel. It's going out literally right now. So you might want to check it. Okay, that said, guys, if you have other questions, of course, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'm gonna play now a final improvisation. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you ring the bell, you get a notification about half an hour before I go live, and also when the new videos are up on the channel. Okay, if you enjoyed this class and you want to see more, leave a comment and like this video. Make sure to like this video, this is quite important. Okay, anyway, thanks for watching this. I hope that you will enjoy your weekend, and now we'll go with a final improvisation. Okay, enjoy guys, and see you soon. Thanks guys for being here, thanks for watching, I'll be seeing you all very soon.